Hey everybody, this is Longo, and in this video we are going to cover some more polar graphs, this time cardioids and limacons or limacons, depending on who you're talking to. They come in the form of a plus or minus b cosine theta or sine theta. And basically, to decide if you're going to have a cardioid or a limacon or limacon is whether or not A or B are equal, if A is greater than B, or if A is less than B, okay? It has nothing to do with the sine or cosine. So, if A is equal to B, you're going to have a cardioid, which basically means you're going to have a heart-shaped thing with a point at an origin. If A is greater than B, you are going to have a limacon with no loop. So it still, in a way, looks like a heart, but you're not going to touch the origin. And if A is less than B, you're going to have a limacon with a loop. So you're going to have a loop at part of your heart on the inside. Okay? So to do this, I'm going to show you how to do one of the examples by hand, and then tell you how you can use your calculator to make your life easier, and we'll do it from there. Okay? So this first one, we can see that we have 3 plus 3, which means A is equal to B. We're going to have a cardioid for this one, which means we're going to have something at the origin. Now, another thing is you see that we have a positive cosine. That means this is going to be stretched in the x direction, very similar to how if we had a positive cosine, we would have a circle to the right in our last video. So basically, we need our 0, 90, 180, 270. And again, for this example, I will show you how to do this by hand. So what you want to do is you want to plug in 0, 90, 180, 270 to the equation. So this is 3 plus 3 cosine of theta, which is 0. Now go back to the unit circle. You know that cosine of 0 is equal to 1. So that basically makes this 3 plus 3. So we have 6. We're going to do it again. 3 plus 3 cosine of 90. Again, on the unit circle, we know cosine of 90 is equal to 0. So 3 plus 0 is 3. Next up, 3 plus 3 cosine of 180 degrees. The cosine of 180 is a negative 1. So 3 plus 3 times a negative 1 is going to give us 0. And finally, 270 is 3 plus 3 cosine of 270. Cosine of 270 on the unit circle is 0, so 3 plus 0 again brings us back to 3. So this is how we're going to graph this. At 0 degrees, we are going to go out to a radius of 6. So at 0, 6. For 90 degrees, we are going to go, 90 degrees is going up, but we only go up 3. And at 180 degrees, we are at 0, so that's how we are at the origin. And then we have 270 that takes us out to 3. Okay, now we don't connect the lines like this. Remember, this is going to look somewhat like a heart. So this guy at our origin, it just means that our stretched part, as we said, is going to be along the 6 or the x. And that's kind of what this is going to look like. Okay, so if you're looking to plot points, you can use your graphing calculator. So we should have the same setup. Make sure you're in polar. And here you go. And if you clicked graph, it's going to show you that it looks a little something like this. Okay. Now, it's more of a circular thing. It's a little bit tricky to graph when you're doing it by hand. But what if you wanted to look at the table to get those points? Well, you can press second graph and look at the table. Now, why would you want to scroll down to 270? That would drive you nuts. So in case you have forgotten, if you click second table, you can switch your independent variable to ask. And then when you go to second graph to give you the table, you can just click 0, enter, 90, enter, 180, enter, and 270. And it will give you the exact same table, okay? So I wanted to show you how to do the first one by hand, but of course you are welcome to use your graphing calculator to help you come up with a table. All right, so moving on. Next example. The next two examples are going to be our Limacons, and we are going to think about what type we are going to have. So if we look at this first example here, we have 2 minus 1. So in this case, A is greater than B, which means we are not going to have a loop. So now you just have to fill out your chart any way you want. I would use the calculator if you want to save some time. But at 0, we're going to have 2, then 1, 2, and 3. Which means when our angle is 0, we are going to go out 2. When our angle is 90, we're going to go up 1. When our angle is 180 degrees, we're going to go out 2. And when our angle is down to 70, we're going to go down 3. And you have to remember, these are going to look somewhat like a heart, but this one is not going to touch the origin. So it's going to look a little something like this. Maybe a little bit more circular on the graph, but it was stretched down because it was a negative sign, and we do not have a loop. Okay? Now, the last example is going to give us a loop because A is less than B. So again, fill out the chart any way you want, and you're going to get 2, 5, 2, and a -1. Now this is where your loop is going to happen, okay? So when we have the -1 here, that's going to be the part that creates our loop, okay? So here's how. We know this is going to be stretched up because it's a positive sign. So we're going to go to 0, 2. And then we're going to go to 90, and we're going to go up 5. And then at 180, we're going to be out 2. Now here's the part where the loop happens. And at 270, remember 270 is down here, but when we have a negative radius, we go away from 270 and we go up. Okay, so here's the part where you have a loop. So to be honest, to graph these, the easiest way is to just create the little loop first. And then just kind of make your heart upside down like this. Okay, so that's where the loop on the inside takes place. All right, so that's it on this video on graphing cardioids and limacons. This is Longo and I'm out. See you, bye.